Good morning. Hope everybody's doing good today. I wanted to jump on, excuse me, really quick today because tomorrow I'm going to be missing in action. Um, as everyone knows, or maybe you don't, my husband's been ill for the last 3 years, and tomorrow we have 5 appointments with different doctors at the VA, and I will be leaving probably about 10 o'clock in the morning. And our last appointment tomorrow is going to be at 3 o'clock. So there is no way I'm going to get into my craft room tomorrow. So, yesterday, if you remember, um, I used the Reflected in Nature stamp set that was just released with the new mini catalog. And I had a few people mention that they had always wanted to learn the reflection technique. And I just wanted to show you that this stamp set actually does the reflection for you. It is one square stamp, and I know it's hard to see. I should have stamped it. And it's called a distinctive stamp. It gives you an image that is just beautifully lined with very subtle sketched lines in the stamp itself. And you'll notice that here's the top of the stamp, which is shown right here on the top of the image. Hey, Pamela. And then the bottom of this stamp is the reflection. So it makes it fairly easy to create an image with the reflection with this stamp. You can ink up the top, which I did in this one in Memento, and then I inked up the bottom of the stamp in what did I? Granite gray. Either the granite, nope, sorry, smoky slate. And that's what I added to the bottom of the stamp. And I did use my Stamparatus um, because stamping this in rubber, you're stamping blind. Hello, Facebook user. Um, you're actually stamping blind with the rubber stamp. So if you don't get a crisp image the first time, trying to match it up again is next to impossible. So I did use my Stamparatus. So when I stamped the image, if it didn't come out properly, I could restamp it without any issues. So that's how I did yesterday's card. And I actually did a card today with the same image but in blue. And I had people yesterday mentioning that they wanted to learn reflections. And I introduced them to this stamp because it does it for you. But you too can stamp a reflection with any image that you want. And let me just pull this out. I don't know what happened to my original piece. But if you wanted to learn or you wanted to do a reflection, I actually have a piece of acetate here, and this is the acetate that comes in our stamp sets that have our stamps attached to it. Now that our stamp sets have the images imprinted on the inside, I've been saving my acetate sheets because they actually do clean up fairly well. I don't know if you can see, but they do have the imprint of the stamps on them. But if you take a wipe and I'm just going to pull one right out of the garbage, and you really rub on it, you can get these stamps, and this is a dry one, you'd have to use something wet. You can get these acetate sheets pretty clean to use again. But for stamping reflections, it doesn't really matter. So here is a piece of acetate. I'm just going to take a plain sheet of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to use the Breathe Deep stamp from the Reflected in Nature to show you. Hey Dawn, how are you? Hi Peggy, how are you, honey? Hey Pam, to show you that whether you want to reflect a sentiment or you want to reflect an image, you can do it with any stamp you have. So here we have our Memento stamp pad. We're just going to ink up our sentiment, and we are going to stamp it. Quick and easy. So there you go. There's your sentiment. Now I want to reflect this sentiment. I'm going to pull in my acetate. I'm going to make sure you ink up really nice and make sure there's a lot of ink on there. And when you stamp the acetate, you want to go down on the acetate and pick straight up. You don't want to smear it because it will slip and slide. So you just want to go down on the acetate, hold it there, and then lift it straight up. And there we have our sentiment on the acetate. So what you're going to do is flip it. You're going to put the bottom on the top. So you're going to flip it completely over, and then you're going to go to the bottom of the sentiment, and I'm going to stand so I can see, and you're going to put it right at the bottom of what you stamped, and you don't want to rub it. Whoops, and I just see what I just did. I just moved it. So let's try that again. I have my camera right over my head, so to try to see what I'm stamping. Okay, we're going to do this again, but we're going to stamp this acetate just like that. And then I'm going to move over a little so I'm out of the way of the camera, but you're going to take it and line it up right under what you just stamped, just about touching, and hold it down. You don't want to rub, but you do want to press it down. If you rub it, you're going to smear it. And then we're just going to very carefully, and I don't want to pull this up because it's going to smear. Let me see. I'm going to grab a glue dot. Easiest way to do it. So I want to lift it straight up. So I just put a glue dot on my finger, and I didn't do it. Okay. But you can see that that is your reflection. And I'm going to do it this time so I have the acetate off the page a little bit so I can actually lift it up without having it smear. So I'm going to pull in an image, and I'm doing the little turtle. We'll see how we can do him this time. So here's our turtle. I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to stamp my turtle on the acetate, and he actually just moved. You really do have to take your time, get a good image stamped, drop it down, flip it over, and then line it up. And it does take practice, but you want to line it up press it down and then lift it. And then there you have your reflection. And then what you can do, I'm going to take my crazy ruler. You can add your blue for water under your image. I'm just adding the blue around him. And then when you color your turtle, let's do some light colors. We'll give him, we're just going to do this quick and easy, nothing fussy. So if you do him in green, now this is dark Granny Apple, you would take for your reflection the light Granny Apple green and color him in on his reflection. And then you would take your watercolor, the color that you put your water down with, and you would go over the image with the watercolor or the color of your water. Okay, then this would be, hey Janet, hey Dawn. So that would be the perfect reflection color, and you can always go back over it when you're finished. You know, if you layer your light colors in different areas and add another layer, it's going to darken your original layer. So that is how you would do the reflected image instead of using a stamp that already has the reflection. And again, it can be done with any stamp. You just want to make sure, like we did on the Breathe Deep, you want to make sure that you lift it straight up. I mean, using the acetate is a little hard to get used to. And I'm going to try this again now that I have my little piece of paper on here. But you're going to stamp your sentiment. You're going to take it and drop it down right underneath. My hands are shaking today, so but you're going to drop it down and you're just going to press and lift. And it gives you, the acetate actually gives it, when you look in water, it's not a clean stamp in the water as it would be your original. When you look at water, it's not a clean image. So it gives you a real look of a reflection. And again, you can do this with any image. It doesn't necessarily have to be what I used here. You can use rubber, you can use the photopolymer. Anything that you want to reflect in water is perfectly fine. So I'll be on a little bit later posting today's card. I hope everybody has a good rest of the day, and I hope you have a good day tomorrow. Like I said, I won't be around. It's going to be a long day. That's why I figured I'd jump on today, just show you the reflected image, since so many people had asked me yesterday. So thanks for dropping in. I hope you all have a great day, and keep on stamping. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks, Dawn. You are welcome, Miss Peggy.